Oh, hello there. Thank you very much. You're tuned in to Reading with Drew, and we're reading Believe the Moon, baby. Okay, and we are down to the final few chapters of this awesome book. Yeah. Okay, I definitely had my coffee. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, enough tomfoolery. We're on chapter 31 in the Central Tribe Burrow. Let's do it. Let's get it on. Johnny Bravo. That wasn't in the book. In the Central Tribe Burrow, the great hall was deserted. Though it was time for early meal, the eating tables were empty. A few bowls were scattered here and there, but they contained only partially eaten food from the previous meals. The fireplaces were cold, staleness stank, and heavy hovered in the air by order of Gumple. Only a few candles were lit. They were light yellow and feeble, so they seemed to cast more shadow than light by order of Gumple. The doors to the great hall were latched shut. The sole way to get in was by the main doors, and there 2 warriors hopped back and forth, preventing entry by order of Gumple. What time did she say she would be here? One of the warriors asked the other. She kept her voice low, knowing that loud speaking was not acceptable to the new grantor. The second one shrugged. Soon. Different, isn't she? The first said cautiously. Not what you'd call social, said the other. Doesn't want much going on. They hopped back and forth. Any word about the war? One asked the other. Nothing. I wonder what will happen now. Jolene's death. The warrior, making a nervous glance about, said, Murder. Well then, murder. Then Berwick as grantor. Freedom suspended. The war. This Gumple creature taking over. Creature. It's anybody's guess, said the other. Oh, it's anybody's guess, said the other. He paused in his hopping. Shh, he continued. I think she's coming. The 2 warriors listened intently. There was a faint flap, flap, flap. Someone was hopping sluggishly in their direction. It's her, one of the warriors said, like a worm creeping out from beneath sodden leaves. Gumple emerged from the shadows. Now and again she paused, gazed about, rubbed her eyes, and adjusted her smock, sniffed the air, and yawned, making it clear that time was of no importance to her. The warriors pulled their ears. Gumple looked around and nodded. The doors, she whispered. The warriors sprang to unlatch them. Slowly, slowly, she cautioned. Just as she was about to enter the hall, she paused. Is anybody about? She asked. No one, Grantor. According to your orders, everybody is in their burrow rooms. Are the doors to the great hall latched? No one can get in without our letting them. Good, Gumple muttered. It's better that way. Everyone in their proper rooms. No bustle, no noise. Easier to keep track of them all. Now, no one is to come in here. No one. I have things to do. The warriors pulled their ears. Gumple hopped lethargically into the hall. The doors behind her closed softly. Once inside, she stood still, listening to the silence, breathing deeply, nodding and smiling to herself, occasionally wiping her nose with the back of her paw. All mine, she muttered to herself. Every little bit. She allowed herself a sigh of satisfaction. I do what I want, when I want. Smile at this one, frown at that. Punish whom I will. Whatever I order happens. She gave herself a hug with her stubby arms. Near the Satab, she stopped and looked about. Jolene's proclamation, as rewritten by Cineas, was still posted on the wall. With care, she removed the bark sheet from the wall and carried it to the satop. Once there, she sat down and placed the proclamation on the floor before her. She gazed at it silently. Gumple studied the proclamation, reading and rereading it. From time to time, she turned the sheet of bark one way or another. At one point, she got off the satop and pressed her face close to the sheet. She saw the line that joined the two parts of the proclamation. "That's Cineas," Gumple murmured to herself. "What a wily fellow!" Vacantly, she gazed about, wondering what was happening in the war. "Something will happen. One won't be back, maybe," she said with a small smile. "Maybe all of them will die." She turned back to the proclamation, placing one paw on one side of the crack and the other paw on the other side. She pressed down hard and carefully pulled the sheets apart. Now there were two pieces of proclamation before her, which she wondered was Jolene's original. By way of an answer, she asked herself another question. Which half was better for Berwick and Cineas? The left half. Gumple shredded it, then flung its bits away. "If Cineas could rewrite this, so can I," she said. "But this time it should be in my favor. What it should say is that Jolene proclaimed me as grantor." In her mind, she began to compose a sentence. "Since I, Jolene, have the right to proclaim anyone in the clan as grantor, I say Gumple should be the one. Jolene." Gumple liked the sentence so much she repeated it 15 times. Each time she did so, she found it more to her liking. She looked about. All she needed was some bark and a writing stick. "Guard!" she called. There was no answer. "Guard!" she called again, grumbling with annoyance, trying to think of some harsh punishment for such disobedience. Gumple hopped lethargically toward the door. She was halfway there when the doors burst open. A crowd of more than 50 monomers stood on the threshold. All were armed with pikes. Before them stood Lucabara. Yeah. Gumple peered at them. Who are you?" she demanded. "My name is Lucabara. We've come to free the satop." Gumple looked around. "Free the satop?" she said in soft bewilderment. "But I am Gumple. I'm the grantor. Jolene said so. I'll have to punish you all." It was Lucabara who cried, "She's with Berwick and Cineas. Seize her!" The crowd, brandishing their pikes, pressed into the hall. Gumple began to hop back. "Oh, no, not at all," she said. "I am the grantor. I'm the one who—" Abruptly, she turned and began to hop frantically away from the crowd toward the doors at the far end of the hall. "Catch her!" Lucabara cried. The monomers hopped off in pursuit. Gumple reached the far doors first, only to find by her orders them latched. With a shriek, she whirled about and tried for another set of doors. They, too, were locked. "Save me!" she cried, and hopped in yet another direction. The monomers followed. Every time they closed in on her, she eluded them by bounding from one side of the hall to another, until she was finally trapped. Cowering beneath a table, "I am the grantor. I am. Nobody but me," she continued to protest as she was dragged before Lucabara and the rest of the escaped prisoners. "Who gave you the right to sit on the satop?" Lucabara demanded. Gumple shrank down. She began to blubber. "Answer!" Berwick did, but only until he came back." "What's that you have in your paw?" Lucabara suddenly asked. "Oh, this," mumbled Gumple. "Just a sheet of nothing." Lucabara held out her paw. "Give it to us," she demanded. Gumple sighed. "If you insist." Lucabara took the sheet and gave it a quick scrutiny. "It's the other half of Jolene's proclamation," she exclaimed. The excited crowd pressed around to see for themselves. "And the other half?" "Oh, and the other half?" Fergink asked. "Here it is," Lucabara said, pulling it from her smock. She lay the two pieces side by side atop the satop. All the monomers crowded around and read it. "Whereas I, Grantor Jolene, 63rd Grantor in the noble line of Tornagerty the First, have come to the end of my life. And whereas I, Grantor Jolene, wish the Monomer Mountain tribe to go forward in the pursuit of freedom. And whereas my only cub, Berwig, appears bent on restoring old absolutist ways and seeks to take back the old grantor power unto himself. And whereas I, Grantor Jolane, have the right by ancient law to proclaim anyone in the tribe as grantor, I, Grantor Jolane, hereby proclaim Perloo to be my successor, with all the rights and privileges of grantor, with the hope and expectation that he will preserve and enlarge the freedom of every monomer. Jolane. You see, Lookabar cried, Perloo really is grantor. Suddenly, someone shouted out, But where's Gumple? She was gone, fled from the hall in Burrow, not to be seen again. It doesn't matter, Lookabar assured them. Perloo is grantor. But why isn't he here now? Asked someone. What's he doing? And that, my friends, is the end of the chapter. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Yeah. So things are looking up, starting to turn around a little bit. They have the proclamation now, it's like together, and it's full, and the tribe's seeing it, they're witnessing it. Luckily, Gumple shredded the other half. That says Berwig's the grantor. So yeah, this is getting pretty good. Gumple, she's, I don't know why they chose her to. She kind of isn't the smartest. I don't want to be mean or anything, but I mean, come on. And she was gonna rewrite it. Like, it ain't gonna work. No one's gonna believe you. Delusions of grandeur. All right. So, yes, that is. What chapter was it? Chapter 31. In the Central Tribe Burrow, where everyone's off at war. They're like, where's Perloo? He's the one, like, in the challenge and stuff, which is, whoop, chapter 32. The challenge, yeah. Yes. Kind of called that one out there. Yeah. All right. So, you know the drill. We're getting down to the end. A few more chapters left. I think 3. So, you know, I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Because I am. Sam, I am. It's fun to be goofy and read. Makes it fun. Making it good. Do you like it? I do. All right. You. Okay. Goodbye.